In 1958, the Herrmann family of Seaford, New York, was your average American family. James and Lucille Herrmann had 2 children. They lived in a quiet Long Island suburb, where nothing unordinary ever happened. But on February 3rd of 1958, all that changed. Welcome to Paralopedia. I'm Jason, and today we're talking about the Herrmann Poltergeist. As many of you probably know, poltergeist is a German word meaning noisy ghost. Poltergeist activity usually consists of loud noises and objects being moved or destroyed. Around 3 o'clock on February 3rd of 1958, when the Herrmann children came home from school, was when the poltergeist activity first started. Soon after the children had entered the house, various balls containing liquid all over the house suddenly began to have their caps pop off. Later it was discovered that all the tops that had been popped off had been screw caps, not something that would easily just pop off. The family at first brushed off the incident as nothing more than something weird that would probably never happen again, but a couple days later it did. And again it happened right after the children came home from school. Soon James Sr. started to suspect his son was behind the popping bottles, thinking he had put something in the bottles that made them pop off to play a prank on his sister and his mother. Over the next couple of days, he watched his son closely to see if he was putting something into the bottles to make the tops pop off. After a few days, James changed his mind and no longer believed his son was behind the popping tops, as he witnessed a couple bottles move by themselves on a shelf. Scared and not knowing anything else to do, he called the police. After spending several minutes trying to persuade the officer on the phone he wasn't drunk or pulling a prank, the officer finally agreed to send someone out to the house. Soon an officer named James Hughes arrived at the Herrmann home. After arriving and speaking with James, Officer Hughes investigated the bathroom where James had seen the bottles move. Soon after entering the bathroom, several of the bottles popped their lids, and they flew at Officer Hughes. After Hughes reported back to the station what had happened to him, Detective Joseph Tozzi was assigned to look into the case. He spent several days at the Herrmann home, and just as everyone else had, he too witnessed their popping bottles. Soon, though, the activity in the home started to change. A porcelain figure actually rose up off of a coffee table and hovered in the air, as several people watched. It moved several inches and then fell to the rug below. It wasn't too long, though, before porcelain figures weren't just floating, but were being thrown across the room and smashed against the walls. Bookcases and other large pieces of furniture were starting to move in the house also. It was around this time that the news of what was going on in the Herrmann household had leaked out to the community and the media. Reporters and curiosity seekers in the community started to become interested, and soon became a nuisance to the Herrmann family. It wasn't long before scientists from the parapsychology laboratory at Duke University became interested in the events reported at the Herrmann home. On February 26th, Dr. J. Gaither Pratt traveled to New York and arrived at the Herrmann home. The parapsychology laboratory at Duke University believed they knew what was going on in the house before they ever arrived. They had already compiled a massive evidence that supported the idea that certain people, under the right circumstances, could influence the behavior of objects without touching them. They called this phenomenon psychokinesis. Pratt believed that someone in the house was unknowingly causing the strange incidents to occur. After years of research, Pratt and his colleagues believed that many times a young person might be capable of psychokinesis during puberty. They thought a young person might be able to do these things without even knowing they were doing it, making them as bewildered as the adults around them when the events occurred. It didn't take long for Pratt to believe that it was James Jr. that was actually causing the activity. He was almost always nearby when an event took place, if he wasn't the only witness to it. On March 10th, the top of a bottle of bleach in the basement popped off, and for whatever reason, this was the last of the poltergeist activity in the Herrmann home. Though it might seem like a stretch, the events at the Herrmann home in 1952 was the inspiration for the movie Poltergeist. If you like this video, you should check out paraphiles.net for more on this and anything else paranormal. There you can find links to the Always Great Smoke and Mirrors podcast. Thanks for watching, and remember, there's no reason to be normal when you can could be paranormal. Take care.